All right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's great to be with you tonight. And tonight we feature Lenny Lottig, the 2025 Holley EFI Factory X World Champion. He's going to join us to talk about clinching the crown. They're going to talk about jumping into Mountain Motor Pro stock. And we're also going to talk about his great foot brake practice tree Winternationals. Now my screen just went blank. There we go. It's still good. I wanted to make sure I was still on. So before we bring Lonnie in, let's go to John real quick. John, how are you doing?
We're doing great here, Bill, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and pass your questions and comments along to Bill and Lenny.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, man. And folks, before we get started, click the thumbs up, the little like down below, click the share. Let your friends know we have Lenny Lottig here live. And to prove it, let's bring him in. Lenny Lottig, welcome to the show.
How you doing? I'm glad for the invite.
We're doing all right. Check out that amazing shop behind you. Walk us through that place a little bit.
Well, see, I built this here 4 years ago, 5 years, yeah, 4.5 or so. Whenever we got into the factory stock showdown, thinking that it was going to be more than big enough. Well, here we are now down the road, and we have full-time crew working on race cars, and you know, I should have built it twice as big for sure. So we definitely kind of outgrown some of the spaces here. 'Cause we have our dyno here in the back, and so we always got something going on here, rocking and rolling. So it's and right now it kind of looks like the Copo bus crashed, and we have Copo. There is a Mustang in darkness, waiting to come into the back end of the play, and my old Dart Mopar is getting ready to be resurrected here in 2026. So
Nice.
we'll be representing all three of the brands.
You're an equal opportunity motorhead. I love it. Start.
Exactly. That way I can make fun of everybody because I have one of three of all the three brands, so I can make fun of everybody and pick on them. So
Nice. I love it. Well, you locked up the 2025 Factory X title. Tell us how it felt when you finally locked it up. I think you did it at Texas at the Fall Nationals, right?
we did it at Texas. We should have probably been able to do it a little bit sooner, but you know that's racing and it didn't happen. So we knew going into Dallas that we had to. I think if we was number one qualifier, that was pretty well giving us the opportunity to cinch it up. So after we got done doing the third qualifying run, it was like, okay, all we got to do is stage the car for the buy run. And I mean, remember, my crew chief was like, telling me just don't screw it up, like little burnout, like don't,
Yeah.
because you got to stage under your own power. I mean, I was even
Yeah.
going through, okay, I can probably stage the car with the starter button with it in third gear. I'm thinking, okay, we will stage this car no matter what. So
Right. Did
because
you
we
did you have to make a full pass and stay within the stripes, or did just staging it enough to get it done?
really, they said, oh, all I had to do was stage the car. I mean, I could have staged and backed out, but I'm like, I go to the track to make a pass down. I mean, I will make a pass every time down
Yeah.
under the full whip. So we still go and still made a full pass just because it's what we go there for.
Nice. Well, racer's gonna race. So,
Exactly.
but you notched wins at Charlotte, Richmond, and Reading, right? And run a couple more runners up. So it's pretty much which one of those runs or events like stood out where you really felt like you had a handle on this thing and were starting to dominate?
Well, I mean, I mean, we had a low car count in the Factory X, but the car count itself there was for the most part extremely tight racing. So I mean, we had a good showing at Charlotte, and then we showed up at because we won Charlotte, and then we went to Virginia. It was we was on the struggle bus there because I wasn't even going to be able to go, and I mean we had to set out the first. I think we realized we hurt the motor because we was testing, and so we didn't have a backup at that point because we hurt so many engines at Charlotte. So between Richmond and Chicago, because Chicago, I didn't get to finish the race there because we broke. So like,
Mm,
those two races was the highs and the lows because I was ready to say, man, I'm so tired of swapping engines because I mean we didn't change oil at the track, we just changed engines. I mean it's South
wow.
Africa season, and because we kept finding, we'd fix one problem, well we'd find the next weak link in it, because those motors were making north of 1,500 horsepower, and a
Wow.
stock is not happy making that much power. And
Right.
we was weak links. So by those two races there, like I say, it was a high from like, my God, what am I doing, to like, okay, we were able to go. And because like I said, we brought an engine back from to Virginia. We sat out, I think, the first one or two qualifying runs. I think when we made the last qualifying run, and then we went and won the race. So I was like, okay, we threw a new bullet in between the frame rails and was able to win the race. So that was like, okay, because we had some good close calls previous seasons of championship runs with between the factory show, and then with the X last year. So this year here, we kind of had some more momentum going, and it just kind of carried on. So we had some good runner-up races, and most of those was we lost. I say we didn't lose those; we gave them away,
Got it.
which is a little harder pill to swallow. Whenever it's one thing when you just get beat, which we did have some races where we just got plain beat, but whenever you give it away, when you have some stupid issues that happen, it's like, well, we didn't lose that race; we gave it away.
Right. Well,
That's racing.
yeah, that's racing. It keeps us humble, right?
It sure does. Yeah, and we got very humble experiences racing these cars. That's for sure.
Well, tell us a little bit about the differences between, say, a pro stocker and a factory X car, because there are some significant differences, aren't there?
Well, the pro stock car is I don't know, I think they're close to 10 inches narrower than the factory X car. The factory X car is a dimensionally correct body. I mean, if you want to look and see, there's right sitting here behind me. There's factory showdown in the factory X car.
Got it.
Practically identical dimensionally side. So so it's like, you're pushing a big brick through the air, because I think that was one of the downfalls of off the get-go, thinking the cars were going to go a lot faster than they were. But it takes so much more power to push those big turds through the air. I mean, there's a reason they made pro stock cars the way they did, was because they were made to go 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
These cars are not made to go 200 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah. The pro stocks, they all stick them within a box. And if they fit within the box, the dimensions are sort of good, right? It's not like back in the day when you had, Novas against Camaros, against Vegas, against Pintos, and everything else out there.
Yeah, so the factory X cars with because they got to be still steel quarter panels, steel roof, steel rocker panels, and then everything else can be composite, but they still got to fit the dimensionally correct sizing of the body. So that's what they still look like the real cars.
Right.
So you have to appreciate, because they're different completely animals. You're using the stock engine platform. So like the power plant in ours is the same power plant that was in the factory showdown cars, which still runs underneath stock Illuminator rules. So
Wow.
you use more than a factory lift cam. It's stock Illuminator rules.
Wow.
So go and work to massage those engines to get them to where they are now. It takes a good bit to keep them happy.
Right.
Because they are. That's for sure. I mean, finished the season with we had I think I did Reading, St. Louis, and Dallas, and we left the engine in the frame rails, and I was like, if I won the championship or not, I was like, my God, I feel like we finally got something accomplished, because we finally like got to go and live, on that in that environment. So like that was like a win in itself.
Wow.
We didn't have to start engines again. So.
Unbelievable. Well, the weight is different, right? Aren't the engines, you were telling me, they're a little higher in the chassis and it's a little bit more difficult to drive? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the engines are, I believe, I think off the top of my head, don't quote me, but I think they're like 10 inches farther forwards than a pro stock car.
Wow.
They're 4 to 6 inches higher. I forget exactly what the difference is in the crank height, because the factory X car has to run a conventional oil pan. Now in 26, you're allowed to go to a dry sump, but so the engine's a lot farther forwards and a lot higher than in a pro stock car. And then you run in a 10.5 tire. So like I have a mountain motor car that we just started dabbling with this year, and the difference between the two. The mountain motor car is very acceleration factor is much quicker in the 8th mile, But on the top, the last 8, the Factory X car is a handful because you're on that small tire, the engine's up high because the mountain motor car drives like a dream compared to the Factory X car in the
Wow.
top. So if you would think that would be the case, but the first time I came out of the mountain motor car, I'm like, man, this thing drives so much nicer. But it's
Yep.
twice the big. The tire's literally twice as big on the mountain motor car.
Right.
Up 100 pounds lighter, and the engine is down and back, like kind of like a real race car would be
Right.
built. And the handling is day and night different. So it's been taking a while to get a little bit used to driving the mountain motor car because the characteristics are very different between them.
Right. It
So
sounds like every time I hear you talk about it, it reminds me of those old period correct fuel altereds with the motors way up front, and that was just ridiculously hard to drive those things. But
yeah,
I can't imagine. And they didn't have 1,500 horsepower back then. You got the same amount of horsepower with probably the engine in about the same place relative to the car.
I mean, I came from driving the factory stock showdown car, which those cars have no spoiler in the back, and like those things will be. It's not uncommon for those to be spinning at the 1,100-foot mark when you
Wow.
be hitting and they'll be hitting the rev limiter because the tires are slipping at the top end because those are a 9-inch tire, and
Right.
you're 1,400 horsepower.
Right.
Those on a 3,600-pound car. So like those are a little bit sketchy driving. So when I went to the Factory X car, I was like, wow, this thing handles nice. But then when I went to the mountain motor car, then I realized how bad the Factory X car handled compared to the mountain car. So, but you
Okay.
know what you don't know. So
Right.
yeah,
That's fascinating. I remember Johnny Rocca's had a 33 Willys uh, pro mod car way back in the day. Tin Indian, he called it. And it didn't have enough spoiler. And that thing got scary on the top end. It would, probably about the same horsepower you're running now. But yeah, it would start hazing those tires at the top end. And oof, it
yeah,
was a scary to watch and probably a little scarier to drive.
yeah. It takes a little bit to get used to driving because like I always tell people about the factory stock showdown cars. I'm like, they're once you realize what people's doing with those, they're very impressive
Yeah.
watch to make them to go as fast as they go. I mean, because I know we go testing somewhere and I'm out running a dragster that's beside me and I'm running my power windows up. I'm like, now how cool is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's 8-track in. Well, I guess 8-tracks are out. You probably stream it now. Tell
Uh,
us a little bit about, so obviously the one car dolled up like Grumpy's toy, which is amazing. I bet that gets a lot of attention. Tell us about how that came about.
well, my crew chief, Dave Udini, well, actually him and Tommy Link. So we have 2 crew chiefs because Jesse Alexandra is a teammate and he
Mhm.
runs the same classes that we all run. He races out of my shop here. Uh,
Mhm.
so that's our 2 crew chiefs. And but they both had history with Bill Jenkins. Dave was with them on a pro stock truck, the crew chief there, helped him all through with the shop. So he had the family connection.
Mhm.
So from the infancy of starting the Factory X cars, and everybody was kind of do a throwback. So he approached the family to see if we could do a tribute to Bill Jenkins, and they were very appreciative of the idea. So they was glad that we was going to kind of bring back a little rejuvenation of Bill's name because, like I say, that's an era of a little bit of older people. So
Yeah.
now it gets to come out, and I know, and
Here
then
we are.
people's talking about it. So
Yeah, it's one. I was saying before we came, but one of the probably Mount Rushmores of drag racing, or certainly in the '70s. Grump and Dino and Big and Shirley. I mean, you didn't even know their full names. You just kind of used them by their nicknames. There was Snake Mongoose. Everybody knew who they were. Yeah.
yes,
And so lots of crowds coming around that car when you pit. What do you think?
oh yeah, like I said, it's been a great interaction with the people at the track because so many people could at the racetrack knew the history of Bill Jenkins, so they would come and want to come and take pictures of the car. So we always was welcoming everybody come into the pits and take a look at the car because to me it's still real race cars have 3 pedals in them, and it's still one of the last of the dying breeds that still has the 3 pedals in them.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll do one wrap question on your Factory X, and then and then we'll jump into the chat. But it, you were telling me before the show that you're not going to run Factory X next year. Can you walk us through that?
Well, like I say, we committed to two years of the Factory X, and with the small car count, as Josh Hart said whenever he was stepping out of running his own, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and that just could not be hit the nail on the head more.
Right.
It takes a lot to campaign those cars at that level,
Right.
and because I feel like we're gonna be able to run the mountain motor car for a fraction of the cost that it took
Wow.
us Factory X car. And I'm talking, when I'm saying a fraction, I'm literally meaning a fraction of the cost.
Wow.
So, whenever I look at the internet, yappers yipping about, it's only a 4 or 5 car count field. Well, it's because, it's extreme. We spent the same amount of effort and the same amount of money if we was racing against a 20 car field as we were against the 4 cars, because, those cars, 4 or 5 cars, all were, serious people. Because, quite frankly, we don't have, no sponsor. We weren't getting no big money stuffed in our pockets to show up to race. We were all spending our own money to race because we wanted to race. So, I feel like we was racing the more passionate of people, because everybody there wanted to be there. And, and we all wanted to beat each other, like beat each other like baby seals. Like Jesse's my best friend, but, I pull into the water box, I want to kick him in the teeth. I'll hug him and love him at the end of the track. By golly, at the beginning of the track, I want to stomp on his throat. That's just the way. But yeah, without knowing what was going to go on with Factory X next year, I have full-time people that work on the race team, and my commitment is to make sure they have a job, because we, like, as of right now, we don't even know what the Factory X is going to be next year.
Right.
And
That's
so
too bad.
I could not wait until the powers to be comes out to say what's going to go on. I have to be a little bit proactive, and because I don't know how many trips around his son I got left in me yet. So I want to still be able to race while we can race. So we went and started getting into the Mountain Motor Pro stock, because for us that was about the only next viable thing. Because I looked at Pro Mod deal, but to me, I love the Pro Mod cars, but when they made them go to automatic, or left them go to automatic transmissions, to me that kind of took a little bit of the zing away from what I think about the Pro Mod. Because, like I said, I'm passionate about the 3 pedals in the race cars, and so the Mountain Motor just seemed to be the next logical thing to go for us to step into. So that was never, like, say, we started last year. I started looking for a Mountain Motor car, and then in the springtime I got really serious looking for one. And so, like I say, so now I picked mine up early this year. I picked up a used car. Jesse's getting a brand new one built at Jerry Haas's. Should be done here next month. So like I say, so we're going to elect to go and race to campaign the Mountain Motor cars next year in lieu of the Factory X, because like I said, 4 to 5 cars at that level to race against. We finished out the year. That was our commitment, and so that's where we are like, well, we'll put these in the archives until something comes up. They're not going nowhere, so we can pull them out anytime we need. If there gets to be something, gets some traction under them, we could always pull them back out and go campaign them. So as of now, we're just going to be racing the Mountain Motor cars next year.
Well, sounds great. And 2 things I never heard I'd say: that you can run a Mountain Motor car for the fraction of a cost, and it's easy to drive relative to what you're already driving.
I don't know if it's easier to drive. It's nicer to drive.
Got it.
The acceleration rate on the Mountain Motor car is still something I'm not quite used to, because that thing can pull the wheels at 400 feet off the ground yet. So it's like, whoa, it's a little bit spicy. Because, like I say, it's a clear different animal to learn how to drive. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. So
that sounds awesome. Well, let's take a couple of questions from the group and find out who's out there in the chat line, and then we'll talk a little bit more Mountain Motor Pro stock with Lenny Lottig. Jen, who's out there and saying hello?
Oh, we're here from coast to coast tonight, and we're really enjoying your interview, Lenny. It's great, and we haven't had any questions so far, but Randy said, not Randy, well, Randy's with us, but Rob McCabe said he's updating the IHRA stuff, And well, actually, he said the I side, and I had to ask him, "What's the I side?" He said it's IHRA. I was okay, man.
Oh.
Duh, you know. And okay, let's see. Here's a comment. Rob said, "Hopefully, Lenny will run both NHRA and IHRA Mountain Motor Pro stock."
Well, we have an answer for that, Mr. Lottig. What do you share your thoughts?
Well, I did get questioned if we would race the NHRA, and I said absolutely. I said no, as long as they don't contradict the same weekends, we will go and no, we'll go and commit and race both of the classes because again, we like to race, so we'll race anywhere that we can go race at. So yeah, so we will hopefully we can work it out to where we can run both schedules, and because that would be our choice would be to run both because NHRA would be quarter mile and IHRA is eighth mile. And I never thought I'd be much on the. I mean, I'm kind of the quarter mile snob myself. I have to say until I did it, because the Galot was the first eighth mile race I did, and in the mountain motor car, sometimes you're probably almost ready for it to be over at the eighth of a mile because when you're going 700 some feet in a 660-mile track, you're like kind of almost ready for it to be over. So I can see the allude of in the fast cars of the eighth mile. Plus, it is going to be because you're just getting into fifth gear and you're letting it off. Or where the quarter mile, now you're just nothing but hammering that thing down for another eighth of a mile
Right.
in high. That's typically where you do kind of break parts. So since I've done it, I can say it makes it a little bit more on the driver because you got to be up on the wheel and
Right.
you can't overcome someone with big power like
Right.
you can in the quarter mile where you can kind of get around and make up for some shortcomings at the beginning of the track. So like I said, I can see the allure now of the eighth mile since I've done it, and I can say I can say I had a good time at it.
Awesome. Well, you'll be able to do both. That sounds fantastic.
Which is even better because the only thing better than doing one is doing two of them.
That's right. Any other comments? Thanks, Rob. And Rob McCabe is our chief researcher, Lenny. So he's out there putting all the stats into our database, and every single day he's putting updates. Man, I thank him many times over. I remember back in the days when I used to do that, but can't quite keep up anymore.
Well, Randy Johnston said, I believe IHRA did its best to run on non-NHRA weekends. And he said, and they've done so for 2026. And I think that's a damn good idea, because you don't have a conflict of interest between anything. And that's going to work out great. Now, let's see. Okay, Rob answered. He said, yeah, except for West Salem that did run heads up against St. Louis. More so, they didn't step on the PDRA.
All right. That is the thing. I mean, you're going to have there's only X number of weekends in a racing season, so
That's right.
they do their best to stay away from one another, or maybe Seattle. Not many folks will head up that way, or unless they're in the points chase for NHRA. But what do you think, Lenny? Let me ask a question with regard to Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Is between the IHRA, NHRA, and PDRA, are they all using essentially the same rules for their mountain motor cars?
Yes, all the rules are as of right now are crossing over. I think the only difference in the rules is I think PDRA you could use a wider rim,
Okay.
which you cannot use in NHRA, and I believe you can in IHRA, but you got to add maybe 15 pounds to go to the wider rim. But for as far as I know, all the other rules. Which the other reason that I like the mountain motor deal was there's very little rules. So when there's very little rules, you can't say you're cheating because when there is hardly any rule, I mean it's a cubic inch to weight ratio with got to have a manual transmission, you got to have upward facing throttle body. I mean it's very cutting dry black and white rule package, which is what I liked about the allure of that, because the less rules or the more rules there is, the way more expensive it gets, because I've hoed that road a good bit, and I've gotten an education on that.
Right. Yeah.
And if I don't break a car with a blower on again, I will be happy. Because it's a lot of headaches to be able to race a blower class. That's for sure.
Well, it got a couple big dominators still in the mountain motors. You don't ever see them going EFI, as far as you know. I don't know if anybody's even ever tried that.
Oh no, there's a handful of EFIs been running, and matter of fact, like say my car that we bought, it's in my paint shop right now, getting a new paint job on.
Hmm.
As soon as it comes back from the paint job, we're converting it, we're rewiring it and converting it over to EFI.
Oh, no kidding. It's just that you do have hood scoops though, and you're
Yeah, well, it's still the forward. Now you got a vertical facing throttle body, so
Mhm.
it's practically. I mean, the average person they would look the same between the carburetors and the fuel injection
Got
because
it.
you're limited to 16 injectors. Um, no, you're allowed two 4 barrels or four 2 barrels. So I mean, we're running four throttle bodies, which will be practically identical to the 4 carburetors that was on our car previously. So
Okay.
yes, yeah, so we're hoping to bring some new stuff to the table with the fuel injection and maybe make a little bit of gains in the next year. So we're very excited for that.
No, it sounds great. And so it's still 2450 minimum weight. And is there a cubic inch limit on the mountain motor cars?
Well, it's 2400 as the minimum,
2400?
and then I think it's 831 is the cubic inch limit.
Okay, gotcha.
And you're allowed a Lanco or a Liberty transmission, and you
Okay.
have to have a manual clutch, and you got to manually shift them. Whether it's the Lanco, you can use the air shifter buttons, or the Liberty shifter. Say we, I started my license with a Elanco, and I know everybody started with that, but to me that just was so backwards for me to be to drive a Elanco. I'm like, there's way too much shit going on with that Elanco to done during the burnout. You can't let the clutch out till you throw it back up in the gear selector in the neutral, or you're in reverse in fifth gear. I'm like, so I switched it over to Liberty the next outing out. I had a Liberty put in it because I'm like, that's what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Um, we switched back to the Liberty, but
Well, it's pretty amazing. So, there's been kind of a plateau in performance for years. Of course, they haven't run this many of them. I was talking to Brett Kepner recently about the sheer number of mountain motor cars in 2025. It's certainly a Galot. And he said, well, they've all been there. They've just been in garages. They haven't been running them. So I'm glad to see them come out. But the plateaus, I think a 617 was the quickest in the quarter. And you said, I think before we came on, 228 is the top speed. Now that there's a bunch more of them, and I guess 399 and about a buck 85 in the eighth, is there you're looking for maybe set some records this year?
well, I think with the amount of people that's back into the class and the amount of effort that's going to be put into the class, I mean, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know what we're going to be doing over winter.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure that's going to entice other people to be working over winter. I mean,
You're gonna fire up that dyno back there. Is that the
exactly. My philosophy in life is anything worth doing is worth overdoing, and that's what we're going to try to do with the mountain motor program. So,
I love it. Well, you got a Mustang, so you're going from a Copo to a Mustang from a Mopar. Tell
yeah.
us.
Well, and I tried hard to find a good Mopar to get, but no, they're just kind of worn out there. I couldn't bring myself to get in a 4-door Dart
Mhm.
to run. Even I have standards, and that's just I'm like not racing 4-door at the drag strip. That's one line I'm not crossing.
Right.
So, and I have a Mustang. Matter of fact, I have the Mustang that we're running. I have a black Mustang, almost identical. That's in my wife's car, that as the mount motor car. So, well, so I'm like, because I didn't even update the front end on the Mustang. I'm like, I'm leaving in because it was a 13, so I'm
Right.
leaving the same end on it because I'm like, I have almost this identical car sitting at the house. So, and it's black. Other than the blue stripes, they'll be identical. So, like I said, I
Nice.
look for the Mustang because I found some Camaros at the time, but I'm like, nope, I'm changing a new page and chapter here, and it's going to be a Mustang. I'm going to be campaigning because
That's amazing.
the other, uh, Ford has been, they've stepped up to the plate this year, and they've been to a lot of the NHRA drag races we was at, and and I hate to say it, shame on Chevrolet, but they kind of walked away from drag racing because we had a lot of support from Chevrolet up until last year. they was very involved, but they've elected to go another route. So I'm like, hey, Ford is stepping up to the plate. So and I like I like all three brands. I mean, I won't say that I don't like any of them. I like them all. So, but I wanted a Ford because I'm like, the heads on my Ford, my mountain motor car still have the Ford logo stamped in them. So I think it's
Nice.
kind of cool.
Yeah, gosh, Chevy does that, right? I mean, Mr. USA 1, Bruce Larson back in the day had to go Oldsmobile racing because they yanked, with his funny car. He won a championship in an Oldsmobile instead of a Chevy. And
Mhm.
probably the most, prolific Chevy fuel funny car racer, certainly one of them, along with Jungle and other guys. So what are you going to do? Politics in Detroit, it's all a crazy
Big.
thing.
Yep, that's so they're looking at the different other aspects of racing. So I'm like, I'll pay homage to Ford because I could have went in any direction with that, but I elected to go with the Ford because again, like I say, I probably do have more Fords in my stables than anything else at this current moment right now. Even the Mopars are a little bit on the low side. I only got a handful of those Fords.
Well, if you got to use two hands to count them, you're doing all right, sir. That's pretty
Well, I've been very blessed, so I cannot complain. That's for sure. Yep,
awesome.
that.
Well, you're doing something this year to give back. You did it last year as well. You're doing it again this year. So let's talk about that a little bit. You got an event coming up on January 17th, I think, right there at the shop, if I'm not mistaken. And it's such what Foot Brake Practice Tree Winternationals, part of the Cars for Kids fundraising effort. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a really fun fundraiser that we've started doing. It started out with Cars for Kids, which was the children's aid home, which is in our our local county here, which actually services the entire statewide region. And the I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, started doing a car cruise in, and it
Hmm.
kept accumulating up and got bigger and bigger. And I mean, this year here, I think at the end of the day, I think we was around 74,000 between the cruise in and my foot brake race. 'Cause I think my foot brake race we did this year. We did it in March because it was kind of later in the year than we wanted it to be. We wanted to do it earlier, but just schedules conflicted. But we made over $10,000 with the
Wow.
foot brake because there's the common practice tree race that everybody does everywhere, and I was like, well, let's take it one step farther. So I took two of the Camaros two of the Copos here, and I wired them because I have them both wired up to where I could practice with the
Hmm.
full tree. As how Ali Dahl hooked me up with a printer, and we had the digital readout for the practice tree, and so we had both the cars setting up in the race shop here, and you had to get in the car, and I had the brake pressures set as I had them both set equal, so it was kind of um, as they would be for my stock eliminator car. So it was pretty hard to push because it
Hmm.
takes high brake pressure to hold the stalker, and so I had people to simulate. As they had to get in the car, I had to push the brake pedal and then leave off the brake pedal.
Hmm.
Um, so we had a wonderful time doing that last year. So, and like saying, all the proceeds go to the Children's Aid Home, which they have I think they average between 35 to 45 kids that live there full time in the aid home, and then
Hmm.
there's another 50 or so that live in the community and with foster kids, foster
Right.
parents, so, and they're taken care of twice a week there. So it's a very endearing project, and so we kind of taken a kindred liking to that um, to the Children's Aid Home. So we try to go and give back a little bit, and what a better way to do it with a bunch of like-minded people.
Right.
Because you get a bunch of motorheads together, it's always a good time.
You bet.
But yeah,
What?
so it's going to be on the January 17th. It'll be a foot brake race,
Hmm.
like I said, and we may even do it with the Factory X cars with the clutch, or we'll do it back to the with the Copos. Not quite sure which way we're going to go with that right now. But like I said, it would, like right now, 100 entries. It's $100 an
Wow.
entry, like $2,000 to win. Um,
Right.
and then we have a catered meal comes in, so it's a really good time. Like I said, people missed out on this past spring missed out on a really good time. So we're looking forward to, and if we get more than 100 people, we'll raise the purse accordingly. Because I'm like, you can't go to a normal bracket race and make that kind
Right.
of money.
Right.
So and then in January, like, what else is there to do? It's going to be
Right.
snowing, and we have a very climate controlled garage here. So
Nice. Well,
um,
once you get there, you're up around Frostburg, Maryland, or near there, near the border. So,
we're right at the Maryland line between Maryland, West Virginia, and PA. I mean, I'm
okay.
kind of right between Somerset, PA, and in Cumberland, Frostburg, Maryland. So
Yeah.
we're like 2 hours north of Baltimore and an hour south of Pittsburgh.
Well, I
So,
cruise through there all the time as a Cleveland boy. I've been through that way. I've got people from back then. If you go back far enough in ancestry.com, I got folks who lived right there in my family. But wow. So, so it's basically still open, right? So you're still up for registration for folks to come
oh
in?
yeah, in fact, we're just getting started on it because, like I say, we're still 6 weeks out, so we're just starting to get like we'll start putting some more flyers on. There's we have a Facebook page. I think it's Lenny Lottig Foot Brake Race, and then also I
Okay.
have Double L Motorsports Facebook page, and then I have my own Lenny Lottig Facebook page, so we can
Okay.
get reached out, and we'll start blowing it up here as we get a little bit closer.
Well, we'll put it up on our Draglist Facebook page too. We got, about 300,000 people there, but they're not all in this country, but the ones who are can read it and come.
Like I said, I mean, it's a very good cause to help support and to go and do and support and have a good time. Like it just doesn't get any much better than that. It's almost like we can make an old Miller Lite or a beer commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't get any better.
That's right. Oh, well, it's such a great cause, and I really appreciate you doing that for the kids. I wanted to go back to like the technical question. So tell me, how do you have to modify your actual race cars so that is it? I don't understand like where do you disconnect from the motor? Sort of what is the setup actually where when they're actually pushing the brake pressure, but obviously you don't want them going through that back garage door there. Tell.
Well, actually, there's typically we don't have an engine in them,
Mhm.
but we run both of all the stalkers I have runs off of a foot brake switch which is a brake pressure switch. So
Hmm.
that's in the two step. So you got to push the brake pressure and then you set the brake pressure what you want to kind of get to the light that you
Hmm.
want. Brake pressure lowers the light, lower the brake pressure, the light's going to come on. Or
Right.
I'm sorry, by the higher the pressure, it'll come on. The light will come on quicker. So I have them both wired that way to go into a practice tree. So I just equalize both the cars to the same brake pressure settings. That way, because they both got the same lamb brakes on them. Both the cars are set up identical.
Right.
427 NA car, the other one's a 350 car, but they're both blue. I mean, they're identical cars, and so I have the both brake pressures set up. Then we put the same rollout in the Portatree eliminator package, and
Hmm.
you let go of the brake. So you pre-stage with the once you get the push the brake pressure hard enough, it goes from pre-stage to stage, and then the timer kicks off, and it's a random Dow in that we
Right.
throw, and then it's a full tree to simulate bracket racing, and you go and let off the brake at the bottom bulb, and and you're either going to go red or go green.
Got it. And so,
So that's how I have, because that's how I have both the cars wired up to 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 simulate the real thing to practice. So we just wire them up together and run off of. We have a full size Christmas tree and we
right.
try it up just like at the NHRA, sanctioned distance, and it's this right the right height off the ground. And like I say, it's as close as you can get, and not having to make noise.
Yeah, that's great. So, the best green light wins, right? Is that the deal? Like if you don't
Yeah.
go red and if you're double O and
Yep. The best light win. And what was ironic was this past year here, two high school kids. They were the ones with a winner and runner up.
wow.
Yeah. And was even funny was both of them was in the playoff, I think, for the state basketball championship. And the one kid that won, I think their schools won the championship in the basketball team. So it was like a rivalry going on. We had so much fun. Like I said, it was a wonderful time with because the same the other local school that actually was at the Maple Grove event they do a trike that they build, and they donate, and then but the money goes to the children's aid home. They always donate a trike, and actually Matt Hagan bought the one trike that was at the Maple Grove, because I got a hold of Kyle Koretsky at Maple Grove for the Reading Nationals, and he got a hold of the people at the NHRA, and kudos to them. They bent over backwards to accommodate the school. So they brought a whole bunch of school kids out. They had a little trike on display, and they raffled it off there. And I say Matt Hagan came and bought that trike there. So
cool.
I actually he ordered one. We raffled off. I forget some local guy won the track they raffled off, but Matt Hagan did he ordered one of the trikes off of the kids that they were supposed to be building for him. So like I said, it was a really good experience for a bunch of school kids. It's a tech class at the school, and they go and design the trikes there. So like I said, we help them out with that. It's the B-Tech, the Berlin Brothers Valley School has a
Right.
very nice class. So like I said, there's a lot of things helping with the kids, getting them into the sport, and anything with a motor makes noise.
All right. That's fantastic. Well, Lenny, I really appreciate you doing that. Let's go back to John and our chat bleachers out there, find out who's hanging out there, and if they've got any questions or comments. John?
Yeah, we've had a lot of comments, and let's see, y'all were talking about engines, and I think you were talking about Mountain Motor Pro Stock engines, and Randy said that would be 4 2-barrel throttle bodies. 4 2-barrel throttle bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And he also just made a comment. The IHRA was brought up. Everybody was talking about the IHRA. And he said, as of 3 days ago, they're looking at Atlanta and Memphis. And I replied to that, and I said, those are 2 former NHRA tracks, which it sounds like a pretty good idea to me. And Rob McCabe had quite a lot to say about all this. He said, now IHRA has many tracks. They have plan Bs. If they can't get certain tracks on their schedule addendums, they'll be ready in time. And he said, plus they can set up the Pro-Am schedule of sportsman events outside of the Nationals at tracks that maybe can't hold Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I know that'll definitely be stuff for when Scott Woodruff is on next year. Mountain Motor Pro Stock is the last place I could see Pontiacs in pro competition. And then he said, bring back the Oldsmobiles. Hey, that's cool with me, and I'm happy.
Talk to GM, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy that everybody's making posts and everything. And it's mostly tonight is everybody's saying happy Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving, Lenny?
Oh, we had a great Thanksgiving. We all spent it at our cabin, and we actually did a turkey in the earthen oven in the ground, where you
nice.
big fire and you bury the turkey in the coals, and then dig it up the next morning. So I say the grandkids, we had a fabulous Thanksgiving. So it was a great time.
Great, man. Yeah, we had a good one too. My wife didn't want to cook, so we went to Benihana and had a good time.
There you go. Well, we did one too. My sister was down past your house, Lenny. She came down from Kent, Ohio, and made it back safely. But we had a really great time. So
all right,
good stuff. Man. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you had a great one. Well, Lenny, before we wrap, that hour went super fast. But tell us if you got any shout outs to any friends or sponsors that helped you out that you'd like to mention while we have you.
Well, I mean, like I said, our whole crew, because like I say, it's easy to look into the current list of entries in all the classes, and yeah, it takes money to get a winning team, but money just can't get the winning team.
Right.
Like, I've surrounded myself with a bunch of great people. I mean, my wife goes and she jumps on board with this crazy stuff we do, running all over the place, and then I got Jesse Alexander, teammate here. He goes and we do pretty well everything the same together, which does make it easier to run a two-car team versus a one-car team, because you get a lot of share of the data. But but Davey Deaney and Tommy Lane, I mean, say those guys, you could give them guys a wheel bar and they will make it fast by the end of the day. And like say, and I got like my crew guys know Josh and Adam and Todd Hoven and Jeff Gray and those guys and Frank Aragona. Say they've all like say it takes a big people to be able to campaign these cars at this type of a level, because you're competing against other people that want to do the exact same thing that we're doing, and that's
Right.
win. And so it takes you just can't throw money at the wall and say you're going to be winning. You've got to get yourself surrounded by a bunch of good people. But like so we had I mean our engine shop. We had Owen Wells and Jake and Pete Gibson's, all those guys. Like say they've we teamed up with the engine shop. Say those guys worked hard because like say God bless them. We definitely found all the weak links in the program until we could finally get those doing good. But like say, it takes a village to race these cars for sure. But Mickey Thompson, Goodyear, they've always been helping us out there great, and VP Racing Fuels, say they've all been good. East West clutches and Bonifonte discs, like say they've all kind of because we blow through parts sometimes like crazy, and they always made sure we did not miss a race. We got a lot of stuff next day aired to the racetrack for us, more than once, more than we should have.
Yeah.
But, most was self-induced, so
you were testing all the systems out, the stress testing, the car and the what do you call it, the shipping. There's a word I'm looking for there. It's escaping me, but anyway, fantastic. Well, before we let you go, give us one more time, Lenny, where folks can find you online and follow along.
We have the Facebook page. I have wanted. I mean, I'm very laxed with it. As I should be way more better. But I say I got the Lenny Lottig Facebook. I've got Double L Motorsports Facebook page. So I say we can look us up anywhere on there. Because I even have contact number. If somebody needs to reach out to ask for anything, they may need or want to know, especially about this foot brake race coming on there. My cell number is on the flyer there, so I can be there. So if anybody's interested in coming and partaking in that there, say we'd highly recommend it because it's a lot of fun.
No, it sounds great, and we'll get a flyer up on our website as well. And I was thinking about supply chain is what you were exercising as well as your own car. You're testing the entire supply chain.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if you find one weak link and get it fixed, you will find the next weak link. I mean, It's amazing how. Yeah.
There's always another next pole in the tent, right? It's the old saying, right?
Exactly.
Lenny Lottig, thank you so much for joining us. Man, this has been so much fun. We'll get your poster up and look forward. Maybe we'll take a look at the calendar. Maybe we can zip up the highway there in January.
Absolutely.
I'll be a spectator, but we'll see. You never know.
Come on, we'll put you in a car.
Take a picture of me. It makes me look like I'm actually driving. That'll be great. So,
yep, for sure.
Well, thanks so much. Have an awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you somewhere down the road.
All right. Hey, thanks for the invite.
You bet. Ladies and gentlemen, Lenny Lottig, your 2025 Factory X champion, jumping into Mountain Motor Pro stock and going to make a splash next year. Adios, sir. See you down the road.
Take care.
Bye. Let's say farewell to Lenny, and we'll turn it over to JB for this week's JB's Take and the Racer of the Week. John, take it away, sir.
Thanks, VP. My pick for Racer of the Week is Dan Wachowski from Hinckley, Ohio. Dan builds transmissions by day at his business, and in his evenings he builds hot rods. He is a man of many talents. His 55 Hemi-powered T-Bird and his 56 supercharged MGA Coupe are two of the finest hot rods to ever put their slicks down on a drag strip. And I'm proud to feature Dan and his cars tonight. The Thunderbird is a 1955 with a Gen 3 Hemi and stack injection. The transmission is a TK X5 speed, and it has a Ram HDX clutch rear end and is a 9-inch Mark Williams gear set and spool, a 389 gear ratio. That car has driven to California and back with a camper. This was its first drag and drive. The MGA was a complete basket case, and I saw pictures of it, and he's not kidding. It was a total wreck, and it was turned into what you see there in 4 months. It has a 289 with a 671 blower. It is 10-to-1 compression and has two 600 Holley carburetors. It has a close ratio for top loader and a 9-inch with 350 gears on a spool. The car has rear disc brakes and weighs in at 1,980 pounds. There's plans to put a dart block engine in the car and a proper chassis to have some safety. The Thunderbird was parked in 1966 with 9,000 original miles due to being blown up early on. Dan already had the Hemi in the garage, and he loves the idea of having one car in his fleet that he could drive anywhere. And this was the car that became all-around great vehicle. Well, Dan, thanks so much for this great. Hold on, I think I got a message here. No, I didn't, but that's okay. Dan, thanks for this great info on these two great hot rods. There's a Dragzine article on the Thunderbird that I read, and it's far more detailed than what I just told you. And I highly recommend checking these cars out. Dan is a great guy. And thank you for this great info on these two great hot rods. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. We all have so much to be thankful for. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. We'll see you all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, my friend. And I hope, let's see, I was actually on the phone sending a text on the chat with our chat group, and I hope that I wasn't talking over you.
Oh, is that right?
I guess I'll listen and find out later if that's what I was doing. Anyway, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I should have thought that, the phone could actually has audio as well, even though I muted myself online here.
Oh, that's all
Well,
right, man. I got this little thing that went balloon,
yeah.
balloon, and that's what it was.
Oh, I did hear
Who's
that too.
that?
Well, we live and we learn, right? It's live radio. Here we go. Well, let's talk about special events coming up. Well, we just found out about it, but let me share it again. The Foot Brake Practice Tree Winternationals, a part of the Cars for Kids fundraising, up at Lenny Lottig's place on January 17th. And as I noted, we will put that poster up on the Draglist Facebook page. Coming up, we'll go through this list again. The folks coming up, and Miss K has packed us out with assistance from Mr. Pete. But Jason Harris is next Monday night, the four-time PDRA world champion, and he has got, another fast door slammer racer. So we'll check him out on December 8th. December 15th, Justin Schriefer, the funny car racer. December 22nd, no show for Christmas week, so enjoy that. December 29th, Teddy J. Say, the Say It Loud Motorsports Nitro funny car owner. And then going into January, starting out January 5th, Richard Gadsden, the brand new Pro Stock Motorcycle World Champion from the NHRA, will be joining us. Can't wait to talk with him. January 12th, as John talked about, Scott Woody Woodruff and Rob mentioned, we're going to find out all about the IHRA's plans for 2026. January 19th, Mason Magaha, the NHRA Pro Stock Racer. January 26th, Miss K still hasn't. I'm starting to get some hints about who it might be, or I'm starting to get some imaginations about who it might be, but I'm not sure. But like, unbelievable name coming on January 26th. Miss K said this is a person that she has wanted to get forever and ever. So the mind races, but I don't know who it is yet. February 2nd, Luke Bogacki, the IHRA dual champion. That's just a great sportsman racer. February 9th, Vita McKillov, the North National Pro Mod Association. Feb 16th, we're looking to fill that slot. And Feb 23, Animal Jim Foyer, the legend of pro modified racing, will be joining us. And I still okay an answer on what I'm doing in March and April so we can fill those dates. I've started giving Kay some ideas about some other folks that I would like to talk to. And you guys can always drop us a line at radio@draglist.com. or any other way, come up on our Facebook page, whatever, and let us know who you'd like us to get on. We will do our best to get those folks on the show. Going on to those we lost, we have one name this week, not a racer, but a great racing photographer, Ricky Meek, photographer mainly at Martin 131 Raceway, a dragway up there in Michigan. Uh, just a super guy who took fantastic shots. He passed away on the 26th. Our condolences to Ricky's family and many friends. And thanks for those great shots over the years, Ricky. So with that, we're close to a wrap. John, I'll ask you for your final thoughts on the show, and then we'll say farewell.
Well, this was a really fun night. I really enjoyed Lenny Lottig's interview. He's a very professional and knowledgeable guy, uh, extremely articulate, and I enjoyed everything he had to say for us. I'm checking on the chat, and I'm not able to keep up with everything y'all are saying, but I come back later and listen to the show, and it's always good, man. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, John. You're always rocking it too. And yeah, I do listen in, and then it takes us about 24 hours before YouTube lets us do an edit. So we edit that little bit at the front when we're trying to sync up YouTube and our Zoom call. But yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, we're making memories here and locking them down. And the one
Yeah,
thing is I still have tons of our old Facebook live shows that are on my computer that I need to pop up here. Maybe, I mean, not the holidays are here, really, things are slowing down. It's an opportunity to get that done. And then, of course, going back to 2010, we've got stuff that we just need to go collect, all the shows and get them all up here because just ridiculous how much stuff is out there and how many folks we've lost now that we've talked to. And some of the last times you'll ever hear from some of these racers were on our interviews. So,
that's true.
we owe it to the world.
I think we've done somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 shows.
It's got to be. It's like, not every single week, but almost every single week back to
That's right.
summer of 2010. That's 15 times 40 a year. Who knows? I mean, it's a lot to do the math. I know one time our Bud, Mr. Drag News DeBoer, actually wrote it all out for me. Every guest on a big old list wrote it in pencil and handed it to me. I have it here somewhere in the draglist.com World Super Crew headquarters, but I have to go find it. But yeah, we're so glad to do this. It's so much fun. And we just enjoy bringing some of these great folks to you. So we do want to thank Lenny Lottig, who was amazing. As a matter of fact, I had a chance to chat with him for about a half hour before the show came on. So I had to make sure to ask those same questions so we can get the goodness out and it didn't just stop right here. I think we got it in there. John Bachleman, my brother, taking such great care of us. Kate Turkelson, who's really she's been putting a lot of great stuff on the Draglist Facebook page. I appreciate that. Rob McCabe working hard every single day. Thank you, brother. David Oakes, the great photographer. Melba Shore, Ron Toombs, John Mernon II, who's really been burning up the photos, adding photos to so many entries. And of course, Jeff Gilder, who got us started years ago. And of course, thanks in heaven to Mr. Danny White, who got us started and kept us going for so many years. Folks, click once again the like and the share button at the bottom of the screen to let your friends know that we're out here. Even if you're watching this on a recording, please do that for us. And you can always check the little Draglist logo down there to subscribe to our channel. Now we have over 500 subscribers. Need to get to a 1,000 before we really start making an impact. So, we had thousands of people on Facebook. I'm trying to get everybody all transferred over, but if you can tell your friends to please subscribe, really would appreciate it. I'd like to keep this thing going and actually would like to build this up and just get it going. The other thing I want to do is start doing little shorts, right? We do these reels or, some places call them TikTok, Facebook calls them reels. YouTube does, forget what they call them. But, basically taking 1 or 2 minute segments out of our shows and popping those up and just running those. I really want to start doing those because there's gold here. And some people don't get a chance to, listen to the entire show sometimes. But, or maybe a couple, a little bit about one of those 1 or 2 minute clips, they say, "Wow, that's awesome. Let me go listen to the entire show." So I want to get some of those small ones going as well. But just takes time, it doesn't really take a lot of money. It just takes time. And that's one thing, we have very little of, but hey, we love doing it. So once again, like and share if you will, and check in on draglist.com every day to see what's new. We put up drag racing news from around the globe every single day. And you can find us again on the Radio Bob Network. We talked to Bob last week, and looking forward to seeing him showcase our shows. Also, he's got his brand new app on the Android. If you have an Android phone, Bob has an app, so check that out. And finally, let's wrap this up. We'll see you next Monday night, December 8th, for Jason Harris, the four-time PDRA champ. Until then, folks, go hit the magic button here. My name is Bill. On behalf of John and everybody else, have an awesome week.